Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew it couldn't last. Jojo left his home in Tucson, Arizona for some California grass. Get back, get back, get back to where you once belonged now. Ooh, get back, get back. Get back to where you once belong now. Get back, Jojo. Hey, are you telling Jojo that he needs to get back to work? That's what's happening in some parts of our country and in our workplace. Now, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Chase Morgan, said, "Don't give me this." I won't say what he said, but he said, "Don't give me this stuff that work from home Friday, that it works." Jamie was a little bit upset. You see, some of the employees at Chase were unhappy about the return to work efforts of Chase. And they had a town hall, and I guess it just didn't go well. So, what do you do? Because many of you are facing this same challenge. Return to the office is back and in full effect for some, not everyone. So how do we manage this, right? When some people are being forced to return back to the office, if you're in the government, you probably don't have a big choice. It's not your option. It's been mandated. So when we are forcing or mandating employees return to the office, we really need to think about what are the repercussions. A heavy-handed approach can backfire. And that leads to disengagement. People could quit. And it definitely can damage the morale in the workplace. So I just want to talk about that. Like this is reality. That there is a big push in a number of industries to return to work. But I want you to think about the implications of that. See, too often we as leaders, as organizations, we don't think through why we're doing something. We just react. And reactive leadership is not the best type of leadership. We want strategic leadership. We want to really think about why we are asking people to return to the office. Now, can you do that? Yes, you can. You are the boss. You pay the bills. But there are repercussions to everything that we do. Hey, I've been working at home since 2009. Everyone doesn't have that luxury, but that was a choice that I made, and it worked out well for me. I'm a very self-motivated person. The organizations that I led, I did a lot of travel, so I could work from home. When I went to the office, I felt less productive, but we had an office, so some employees worked in the office. I just didn't. So now it's not for everybody, but let's think about a few things. Number one, the employee experience and well-being. Now, a lot of employees have adapted to remote work and hybrid work, and many have restructured their lives around this flexibility. So a sudden, rigid return to the office mandate can really create a lot of stress, burnout, resentment, and a lot of problems because, again, people have centered their lives around the agreements that they made with you, right? You made agreements to allow people to either work hybrid or to return to the office. And things shifted. So you have to understand that when you are mandating people go back to the office is not just as easy as flipping a switch. So we need to consider how return to the office impacts mental health, caregiving responsibilities, and overall work-life balance. Now, some federal employees found out, hey, I can't live in another state and work for this company. I saw a news article where one person was living in Austin, Texas, and their office was in Florida. So did they move to Florida? No, they quit their job. Now, can they be replaced? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but it's always costly to replace employees. And we have to have some sense of trust. Employees need to trust that their leadership values their well-being and isn't just prioritizing outdated work models over their needs. So make sure that you are returning to the office for the right reasons. Now that gets me to point number 2, productivity and performance metrics. Now, many companies saw increased or stable productivity with remote work. Now, the CEO of Chase was a little upset that when he went into the office, he didn't see people, right? He didn't see people, so therefore people must not be working. Is that accurate? Do we need people sitting in a cubicle 8 hours a day? Well, you need to think about that. Employers should ask, is in-person work actually improving performance, or is it just about control? All right. How do you answer that question? Data-driven decision-making is key. If teams are meeting goals remotely, why disrupt what's working? Why do you want them back in the office so you can eyeball them? I want to see what you're doing. I want to look at you and say, is this person working? Is this person being productive? I'm just going to eyeball it. If they're sitting at their desk, they're being productive. Now, I worked in a number of offices where I was playing video games on, this was when I was younger, not now, when I was younger. I was playing video games on my computer. I wasn't working diligently for 8 hours sitting at the desk. I was bored. As a young worker, I didn't have enough stuff to do, and I worked pretty fast. So I was sitting at my desk, driving 30 minutes to work, sitting at my desk. I would finish my work early, then I would play video games for a couple of hours. So, is the person achieving their goals? You need data to make that decision. Eyeballing it is not going to help. I don't know how old you are, but if you remember, the old computer games had like a little key that you could hit, and it would go to a blank screen or bring up an Excel spreadsheet. So you can't always tell just because the person is in the office. So how do we build a sense of trust? Employees need to feel that their contributions are being measured by outcomes. Again, not outdated notions of being seen in the office. And I know in one office, my supervisor and I, we would play these different games and stuff. My supervisor, right? Because you don't just work consistently for 8 hours in most occupations. Maybe if you're on an assembly line, but even then you have to take breaks, right? There are some things that need to happen in the office, but if it doesn't require you to be sitting at a desk or standing on the assembly line, you really need to consider why you are doing this. All right, next, number 3, retention and talent acquisition. Now, a strict return to the office policy could lead to higher turnover, lower morale, and difficulty attracting top talent, especially younger workers who expect flexibility. Now, I've read some posts online where people are saying, hey, I'll take $20,000, even $30,000 less a year if I can work from home. And so top talent may stay home or look at other options, even if you are paying more because of the flexibility. Competitors offering hybrid or fully remote options might really take some of your discontented employees. So what is the competition doing? You have to look at the data, look at your competition. That will help you make the right decision for your workforce. And again, as an employee, I need to trust that my leadership is making decisions in a way that values my autonomy and takes into consideration job satisfaction. Now, area number 4, as we think about collaboration. Again, too many companies kind of just jump on the bandwagon of whatever is going on. Now, some employees benefit from in-person work, especially for collaboration, mentorship, and innovation. So employers should clearly define why in-office work matters. It shouldn't just be we said so. We said so. That doesn't work. It doesn't work with raising kids. Maybe it did when I was growing up, but it really doesn't work. It's really not effective. So it has to be more than you just need to be to work because that's the way we've always done it. Hey, look, it's not the 1900s anymore. Tell employees why they need to be in the office and what type of collaboration you are expecting from them sitting in the cubicle or having a desk in this one particular building. I've seen a lot of employees that come back to the office and you know what they're doing? They're emailing each other. They're using Slack. They're using Teams. They're not talking to one another. They just happen to be in the same building and everybody is in their separate little building, their little cubicle or their little office, their closed doors, and they're not intentional about collaboration at all. So make sure that you are clearly defining why people need to be in the office. Is it because you have one meeting every month or you have one meeting every week? Well, maybe that's the day everyone needs to be in the office. I'm not telling you what's right or what's wrong. I'm saying have a strategic business reason for bringing people back to the office. Now, if you just think, hey, my employees are just great people, I just love being next to them. I just want everybody together so I can see them and we can just have a happy-go-lucky time. Well, just tell your employees that. Hey, I just like being around you. I like your perfume. I like your cologne. You know, I like your hairstyle. I want to see it every day. Now, also understand as we think about who's going to work with us, for us, just understand that not all employees experience return to the office the same way. Commuting really impacts lower income workers, caregivers, and people with disabilities. And so we were able to make some accommodations for people with different phases of their life or different abilities by allowing them to work remotely. So how is this going to change your workforce? You need to consider those things. Are you basically now discriminating against a certain type of worker because everyone has to come back to the office? Now you have to answer that. I'm not saying that everyone fits in your organization, but understand that the shift from hybrid or remote work really changes the pool of employees that may be attracted to the job that you have. So again, employees need to trust that their leadership is being fair and really considering the reasons why, the business reasons why they are implementing a policy that could be seen as one size fits all. Now, hopefully you've thought through these things, understanding that it is a big shift for many people who over the last 2, 3, or 4 years have been working at home. So don't just make this decision without some thought, right? Without some degree of thought, without really articulating the business reasons behind this. There are a few things that you need to do to make sure that your transition back to the office is successful. Just have transparent communication. Explain the why behind the decision, get employees involved in shaping return to the office policies, have some flexibility, recognize the different roles and people have different needs. Also, be committed to fairness. Ensure the policy is equitable and not just about surveillance, right? You're not just spying on your employees. And make your decisions with the long-term outcomes in mind. Build policies based on outcomes, not assumptions about what's normal as we think about work. If leaders build trust, employees are far more likely to accept and even embrace change rather than resist it. Well, my name is Glen Guyton. You all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.